Hello friends, welcome back. Let's take a look at Chainlink together. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm trying to speak a lot slower in this episode. I hope that works. Let me know down below if I am just convincing myself and actually I'm not speaking any slower at all. Let me know. I really am trying though. Let's take a look at Link first off versus Bitcoin, then versus the dollar prices, and where are we just now in terms of this? Well, we came up as high as a 50% retrace in here at 44,000 or so, and then we've dropped back down to the 43,000 area. But we've not managed to put in a low compared to the previous low, a lower low, sorry, or go below the 55 or the 21 exponential moving averages here on the daily time frame. So that's quite good, and indeed as well, we've not gone below the 382 either, which is good to see, because if you were to go below the 382, as we discussed so many times, having been up at the 50%, that would be the equivalent of going past the 236 and a Fibonacci retracement drawn from up this way instead, as we know already. So that's not a surprise at all. Not a surprise. No, sorry, that's good to see. I don't know why I said not a surprise. That's a function of me speaking slower. Is that Alfred? Oh, my phone just ran out of battery. You're kidding me. Right, I'm going to keep making the videos, but I'm not going to be in the Tezos one. Thanks so much for just dealing with that. And I'll just make the videos without my camera. I'll put a smiling picture of me in instead or something. Okay, so yeah, so that'll do for the Bitcoin pricing really. We're continuing to trend upwards here in terms of these oscillators. There's no divergence when we look at this high compared to our previous high across the three oscillators down below. That's good to see. The slightly concerning aspect here is, of course, the diminishing volume overall. I would like to see at some point this start to overall beat this sort of median line here on the volume, you could say, in around this area, and start to pick up towards it and go up away. But it's not the end of the world overall if it doesn't, because this is more or less at the mercy of the Bitcoin pricing. Let's go over to the dollar prices instead, and you can see that we're still in this sort of sideways channel area, I suppose, if you look at this price action, and that we've managed to avoid having a head and shoulders at any given point along these ways kick in yet. But there is always that possibility, as you look towards these highs being higher than the previous high. If the next one comes in and forms a shoulder and comes back down and breaks down below that 370 area, you could say all sorts of things about it, like Adam and Eve's or head and shoulders or any sort of pattern along those lines. Generally speaking as well, this lower area here where there's a support line at, doesn't, it's kind of more or less inconsequential where that's drawn in at. It doesn't really line up. If I were to want it to line up better, that's actually far better position there, where we've got several touches along there so far. And if I line this up over here, then you can see we're still in this area where the top side resistance is at $4.10. The lower side resistance is, let's say, 380 currently. But of course, any moves down towards 370 are more or less acceptable, because they would just be higher lows overall compared to the previous lows, and that's our crucial sort of support line that we're looking at. In terms of the oscillators and whatnot, this high is higher than the previous high in terms of the stochastics and in terms of the MACD. In terms of the RSI, not so much, but we're in this descending, broadening wedge on the RSI. I wouldn't mind seeing this eventually break up above this and make a move up towards, if I just borrow this area, this little stick here, and kind of say, look, up towards this top, and we can consider things about being in that overbought area again. Now, why would I want to see the prices overbought? Well, overbought really just means extremely bullish for a period of time. Of course, it puts a limiter on it, in the sense that at some point what goes up must come down, etc., etc. But in terms of that what goes up must come down aspect, you want to see it going up, do you not? And that's that whole concept there. We'd want to see that happening in around this area. And of course, I'd like to see ideally going up higher than $4.70, up to the $5 and closing up there in terms of the overall movement from this thing. But really, if you take if you sort of try and think about this in terms of a consolidation pattern just here, and the potential size of a breakout, for instance, on this, it really only goes as high as the 886, and that would be a fairly common place to see things turn around. Plenty of trading to be had on the way up there. The prices are 380 at the minute. If it did go up towards towards the 886, then you're looking at a near enough 20% rise in prices. Lots of trading to be had in the meantime, and that would be the first, not the first, this would be a distinct profit taking line in terms of how I would be looking at it. Now, I'm not a financial advisor, none of this is financial advice, but that would be, the first area. This is a 786 Magnolia line, and likewise, this is a 786 Magnolia line too. Getting above both of them is going to be, an element of hard work about it. So consolidating in this area before going up the way can be a good thing to see happen. But of course, as we discussed, we don't want to see the prices, if they don't have to go below the 380s. We certainly don't want to see them go below 370s and or 369 or wherever you want to draw that in at. And if this low here gets breached as part of if there's a right shoulder as well coming in, then you could be looking at that point at having a head and shoulders, for instance, on here or something along those lines. You never know. So we'll bear that in mind. Of course, this has been consolidating for a wee while now, and it depends on how you kind of look at this overall structure. Indeed, as well, you could say this is we're still trending towards the upside, with this being our lows here, lows, and these being our highs, which is ultimately has gone higher. And the RSI has got that bearish divergence throughout it all, and the stochastics then therefore would also have a degree of bearish divergence if you consider this high to be, lower than all these previous highs over here, and likewise with the MACD. So there is a risk there for this. The volume continues to diminish off. We'll have to see how things go, but we know about the key areas to be aware of on the way for managing risk. Thank you so much for tuning in. Really do appreciate everybody who's taken part in this community and helping it grow. It's really fantastic. Thank you so much, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Please do hit that like and subscribe button if you've made it through this part of the video. I don't see why not. I do videos every day. You'll be sure to enjoy them in the future too. Share this with a friend if you've got one that you think would like it. I'd really appreciate that.